What makes the new buckle for the BETTA Belt better than ever before? Glad you asked. First of all, we're going to give a very brief history of how we arrived at this buckle, starting with a side release buckle. You see some of these out in the marketplace, and while great in theory, in practice, these buckles have a plastic piece on either end. When you already have a 1.5-inch strap, these plastic pieces are typically a little bit bigger than that, and one or the other is going to have to get threaded through your pants loops, which is a real pain. So we decided not to go with that. Other common option out there is a cam style buckle, which we like because you can thread the strap through the cam and it clenches it shut. This is one of the more commonly available cam style buckles out there. As you can see, it wasn't designed to be used as a belt buckle. However, it's really a lot more similar to something you'd use for a tie down that you would use to strap things in the back of your truck, for example. And, well, it has some nice aspects to it. I mean, I think it's fairly blocky and uneven, and we chose not to go this direction. So, there are 1.25-inch buckles out there. This is one of them, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely a lot smaller than the buckle for the 1.5-inch, surprisingly so. We'll put this up as a basis of comparison. Personally, I prefer a 1.5-inch strap anyway, just for the width of it. But, one thing you should note about these 1.25 is that they're so much smaller that the components that go inside are a lot more delicate and could more easily snap, which you end up with a broken buckle. I also think that when you look at it on a website, it looks, you don't have a frame of reference. So the belt looks a lot more substantial. And when it arrives, I think you're going to find that this buckle and the strap are, smaller than you imagined. There's also a 1-inch out there, which we briefly considered. This is even smaller still. It's really surprising to think that the difference between a 1-inch and a 1.5-inch buckle is that much. But it is. And again, with these smaller buckles, you have the correspondingly smaller internal components, which, I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith in that lasting particularly long. So we had our first buckle that we used with the original BETTA Belt. It's a nice buckle. It is designed to be a belt buckle. It's rounded, it's even, it's smooth, and it works well. You can slide the strap in here, it clamps down, snaps shut. There were some things about it that we felt could be improved. For example, with this standard generic version out there, the hinge could be stronger, and also with the top panel pointing straight up in the air, some people tend to pull the strap back to tighten it, and this can sort of get in the way, and that is a little bit of a vulnerable point. It's also a little bit larger. It can actually accommodate a 40mm strap, which is slightly larger than 38mm, which is a 1.5-inch. So I don't know if you can tell, but our new one is a little bit more compact. So what other things make our new buckle better than ever before? Well, as we just mentioned, it is more compact, so it isn't quite as big, and it's still nice, robust, and strong. The main thing we did was that we strengthened these hinge pins in here, as that's a common failure point. So the buckle is much stronger than before. The snaps are also a little bit more tight. We also added this groove here so that the top panel could recline out of the way. So as I talked before, when people like to pull the strap to tighten it, when the top panel is reclined out of the way, there's not as much pressure on this piece if you are pulling against the grain with the strap. So those are two of the main aspects. It also has a nice subtle pattern on it, and our recessed logo, which you can barely see, but feel that it's pretty subtle, but